Flock Safety just dropped a pitiful victory lap on X. They actually brag about using their license plate reader cameras, Skydio drones, and their Raven gunshot detection microphones, if you heard of those, to quickly track down a suspect after shots were fired at Meta's Altoona campus in Iowa.
No charges will be filed after a person fired a gun during a confrontation at the Meta data center. This all happened around 7:15 this morning.
Police say an argument between two people escalated into a fight. That is when one person pulled out a gun and fired into the ground. That person then left the scene and was later located in Marion County. Police say video evidence and witness statements show the person fired the shot in self-defense. The two involved in the incident are out-of-state contractors, not Meta employees. Police have not identified them.
They located the vehicle, they coordinated the stop, they recovered the firearm. Sounds like a really big win, doesn't it? Nope, the shooting was justified self-defense. 0 injuries, video and witnesses confirmed it. No charges filed. What an odd flex by Flock. What an odd flex by Flock. What an odd flex by Flock. That's kind of odd, right? Of all the things that they could probably be bragging about, because surely they have solved hundreds and thousands of other crimes, and we never hear about those. But we hear about this. No crime committed, nobody hurt, no charges filed. Could it be that they have no other successes with this system and actual crimes in bad areas? So I know we've been talking a lot about Flock lately. Let me explain to you about this weird little unconstitutional love triangle that a lot of people probably don't realize. And this is how it works. Flock's system, using their gunshot microphones, I'm sure you hadn't heard about those, they pick up the gunshot really fast. Their license plate readers then scan plates and vehicles in the vicinity. Law enforcement drones are then deployed, cops stop a guy, they recover a gun, in this case, cleared as justified self-defense. In other words, a complete waste of time and your tax dollars. So probably something a lot of you hadn't heard of is the Flock Raven system. We've been talking a lot about the cameras, and rightfully so. Did you know that we're listening to? Yeah, the Raven system is an audio recording device. If you're looking for them, the cameras are the bigger units with lenses and solar panels. The Raven gunshot mics are smaller, compact black little boxes or cylinders, about 6 inches tall, really lightweight, often on the same poles. No camera lens tied directly to them. Again, it is a separate system but works in combination with one another. The claim is that these microphones are not recording your conversations 24/7. Even if it's on a street corner and there's a bunch of people gathered around talking, yeah, they say that it's not recording that. They say that these mics are event triggered for gunshots, that they then save short clips of around 5 seconds. They alert cops quickly and link everything in Flock operating systems. Separate hardware from their LPR cameras, but they work as one integrated trap. And they claim that other audio, because you know it's in the cloud, that it can't be searched. Really? Can I see some proof of that? Because I know you're collecting it. But as we saw, this net catches justified self-defenders just as fast as anyone else. And that's if it has even caught anybody else. You do the right thing, you neutralize your threat, you get to safety, and the machines still hunt you down. You'll have your gun taken, a record created of you within the system. You're now in their database linked to a shooting. There's no way to get this private company to remove your link to a reported shooting, and any agency doing a search will see your name linked to this reported shooting. And here's the stupid part. Why aren't these cameras in Democrat-run, high-crime urban areas? It's not like you have to wonder where the crime is. And if this is a big enough story for them to create a headline out of it, why aren't they celebrating the successes of their little Raven shot spotting system in Southside Chicago? Well, you probably know why. The race pimps and other activists and politicians claim that these types of tools are racist. They claim that detecting gunfire where it actually happens targets black communities. Really? So, if a microphone that can't tell what skin color is, here's a gunshot, and it just so happens to be a black person on the other end of the trigger, that's racist? No, that's stupid and silly. And there's no valid fact to back any of that nonsense up. A person getting shot shouldn't matter what color they are. Dead is dead. The violent stats are what they are. Ignoring tools that are supposed to be there to help because of political feelings gets more people killed, period. So because of a little bit of pissing and moaning, they're actually not catching people where the real problems are. And they're deploying these things out into other neighborhoods where it's people who probably don't commit as much crime, so they don't cry about the statistics saying that they commit more crime. It's kind of a weird little thing here. When your area commits the most crime, and they figure out that your area commits the most crime, then you start complaining about them knowing and verifying that your area commits the most crime, so it must be racism. First, guys, if you don't mind, check out my friends over at Attorneys on Retainer.
We were at a barbecue and it was getting crazy. When he started running at me, reached for the back of his pants, I just pulled out my firearm. Once the target was down so that he's not a threat anymore, I just called you guys.
The majority of programs immediately exclude you if you happen to be in a gun-free zone at the time that the incident occurs.
The strike force was called. If that doesn't happen in this case, he's still sitting at Rikers Island today.
Lawyers are like real-life superheroes because you can give people a chance to really get a second chance in life.
Folks, I use Attorneys on Retainer, and I suggest you do too if you carry a firearm or you do anything to protect your family. Use my code FTATF for a discount at sign-up. Flock is building the full ecosystem. Audio mics for shots, LPR tracking, drones for eyes in the sky, all sold as safety. Oh, you didn't know Flock had their own drones? Well, they do. Flock Alpha DFR, which stands for Drone as First Responder. Flock developed and sells its own automated NDAA-compliant drone system. These are purpose-built for public safety, they call it. Dock drones that can launch automatically on alerts like 911 calls, LPR hits, gunshot detection from Raven mics. They're designed for rapid autonomous response. Autonomous. Again, not manned, not piloted. So you get one of your, let's just say, your Raven microphones. Here's what it thinks is a gunshot, and thinks because there is some error in there. Notifies the system. Immediately, that autonomous drone, that autonomous Flock drone, deploys itself, starts heading to that direction. Your Flock license plate readers, your cameras, are trying to locate vehicles in the vicinity. Now, granted, the Flock camera doesn't know which vehicle is the one responsible for the alleged gunshot. It just knows that in that area there was a gunshot. So it immediately starts scanning these license plate readers. The drone, meanwhile, is also out there. So once one of these, or a couple of these Flock cameras determine that these half a dozen cars out there were in that immediate vicinity when that shot rang out, so it could be one of them, now that Flock drone decides if it's going to pick one. I don't know how it's going to do. Maybe there's multiple that come out. But it's going to follow that car now. So instead of you just being at the mercy of somebody going back and looking at data that is more passive, now it's more active because you're going to have a drone that is real time happening. It's not going back and looking at old data to try to put a puzzle piece together. Now it's actively searching for you at that moment. So now we have a heightened sense of awareness because allegedly the gunshot just rang out. So if cops are located to your vehicle and you just happen to have been in that vicinity and that drone tracks you thinking you are the guy, maybe it's using algorithms or mathematics just to determine based on the distance that was traveled, it's probably you that made that or had that shot taken. Now a cop is deployed to follow you, and when he pulls you over, you are a suspected shooter. Up to that point, you've not been cleared. And trust me when I tell you, when you are a suspected shooter, they do not assume you are innocent first. Flock markets this whole stack. Their license plate readers, their Raven mics, their own Alpha drones, plus they integrate with these Skydio drones that you've seen a lot of law enforcement already have. They market this as a complete safety program. This is why the net is so effective and so concerning. They control a lot of the hardware and software themselves. And again, there is an error rate built into this. This is not a perfect system. There's a lot of assumptions that have to take place when these things are handed off between these different technologies. But this can chill your right to self-defense. Even when cleared, you're still in the system. And in some cities, they're pulling mics over racism complaints while gun-related crime continues. So you're going to be a priority in this flock system, not the people who are actually out there committing the crimes, because they can't classify them. They can't follow them. That would be racist. And here's the kicker. This is funny to me. You've seen all the blowback that's happening with Flock over the last several months. On July 18th, a couple days ago, they made a post on X that is trying to convince you that there is safeguards, guardrails built into their system, which we all know is a lie. There's not a warrant required by law enforcement to search the system. That's why so many law enforcement people have lost their jobs and gotten in trouble, because they have misused this system. In fact, in some agencies out there, the individual law enforcement officer who is misusing the system, in some cases, does not even have to put in a specific ID that is specific to them. In other words, the terminal may be left open where anybody could log into it. The janitor could log into it. So in some cases, some of these systems don't even self-police themselves. But Flock is out here trying to beat their chest that they have all these fail-safe things in place that, oh yeah, nobody could possibly misuse our system. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to take you through what their claims are about how they have all these safety measures in place that prevent anyone from being able to abuse it. We're going to have a laugh with that one. See you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.